Howdy, Beefalo Bart here, and welcome back to video 3. Okay, just a quick recap of what we have is Kermit, the bot, and we walk over and it makes the weapon disappear. Lovely. And it tells us, hey, we picked up an MP5. Hey, we picked an AKM was picked up. Yeah, whatever. Lovely. Okay, so what are we going to do with them once we walked over and they disappear? Where are they going to go? Alright, so I've come up with a brilliant idea of how to make it work. So bear with me and let's see if we can get this to work here. Okay, we're going to go into our player underscore base. And we are going to do something that you're probably not going to do a whole lot of. And we're going to create some variables. We open up our weapons, we can see we have MP5 picked up, G17 picked up, AKM picked up. Well, we need some more. And we're probably going to need more after that. So get used to making variables. They're very handy and they help make things work. So variable, we're going to call this is in hand. Okay. And we're going to assign that to weapons category. We need is in. We're going to rename these other two. Just want something here for now. Slot 1. We're going to leave these as booleans and keep them in the weapons category. Is in slot 2 and weapons, and is in holster. And again, we're going to rename these later. They're just something for me to get the functionality going, and then we can make it seem prettier than it actually is. So what we need to do is, once we actually have walked over the MP5 and we've picked it up, we're not going to immediately equip it to your hand. We're not going to hold our weapons just yet. We're going to get there, but for right now, let's actually get them and have possession of them and have them visible to us. Now, we're going to compile and save that, and let's go to our skeleton. It's going to be in mannequin, character, mesh, and we're going to double click and open up our skeleton. Alright, here's where it's going to be interesting. And I'm going to click over here somewhere, pelvis, maybe. Okay, thigh right. That sounds like a good place to work with. And we're going to create a holster. Well, not really a holster, but a location for a holster. We can worry about adding an actual holster in later on. But we're going to go ahead and make sure we're left click on thigh underscore R. We're going to right click on that. We're going to add a socket. We're going to call this holster. And for placement purposes, we are going to add a preview asset. And we're going to use, or I don't know, it doesn't really matter all that much. We're going to use the G17 skeletal mesh. And as we look at it, it put it in an awkward position. So we're going to need to go ahead and handle our rotations. And we're going to kick it down 90 degrees. We're going to kick it out just a little bit. And we're going to rotate it another 90. We're going to go ahead and move it so we can get it visible. And honestly speaking, if we look at the animations, and let's go ahead and pull up an animation while we're here. And in this animation, let's look at, not sure what it was called, pistol, equip pistol standing. And for right now, I'm going to go ahead and pause this. And I'm going to find my preview right here. And I'm going to dump the MP5. Just the preview, not the socket. Now, we're going to go ahead and look at where he's drawing the weapon from. And we want to hit the back button. We want to find the low spot. That's absolutely terrible. Seriously, who carries a gun back there? So, realistically, you're going to have your weapon right there. But let's go ahead and, for the sake of it, because this is where the animation is pulling the weapon from. So we're going to go ahead and make it work with that. As much as I don't like it, we're going to do it anyway. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because, you know, nobody's realistically going to be carrying a gun there anyway. So I'm actually going to rotate it a little bit. We want to get it to where, as you're walking around, it'll actually be there. And be close. So that's good enough. So now, if we continue to play, see that he's going to be reaching to that spot right there in his back, and he's going to draw the pistol out. So that's good to go. And we'll go ahead and we'll stop this animation, because we don't need this one anymore. And I'm not sure if there was an option to put away the rifle. Equip rifle standing. That's almost the same thing as equipping a pistol. Not much better. So yeah, it's not really going to matter all that much. So we're going to ignore that. And what we're going to do is we're going to create 2 more slots. We're going to call them primary and secondary. Doesn't really matter all that much. We want to have somewhere that, see, like upper arm right. We're probably going to end up changing this later, but we just need a location for it to become the thing. Clavicle R. That sounds lovely. So we're going to go ahead and add a socket. We're going to call this slot 1. And we'll go ahead and add a preview asset just for the sake of it, so we can get it positioned. And we're going to give it the MP5 skeletal mesh. And we need to have this in a position to where it's going to look like he's actually got it on a sling. Honestly, actually, me being the weirdo that I am, I actually have a drop leg thigh holster that will hold my MP5. Yes, in real life. Yes, I'm that weird. So let's go ahead and get it rotated. Get it in position. Get it relatively close. It's not going to be good any way we do it, because this would not be ideal. can't think of a great way to do this, but and just for the sake of whatever, we're going to go ahead and rotate it to where it's facing upside down. Now, you can put this wherever you want and position it however you want. I'm just going to put it right there. Try to flatten it out just a hair more so it's not completely retarded looking, even though it is. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the preview. No, I'll leave the preview on here for now. And what I want to do is, since that was clavicle right, let's see if we can find left. It's upper arm, clavicle left, right there. So we're going to go ahead and add a socket to that one. We're going to call this slot 2. And we'll go ahead and add a preview asset to that. And we'll let that be the skeletal mesh for the AK. This is the fun and exciting part of doing all this, right? I mean, who would have thought that making video games was so exciting and glamorous and yeah, again, not ideal. But we're going to make it work for our purposes right now. And you know what? I don't care. Good enough. So now we actually have 2 slots on the back and 1 on the hip. Well, and they're all kind of on the back, but we'll go ahead and throw an animation on there just so we can see something. And we'll play it. Just kind of look at how they ride. They're absolutely terrible. Yeah, we're going to have to end up changing that pistol out. Yeah, whether it's supposed to be there or not, whether he's drawing from there or not, I don't really care. That's just horrible. I hate having the gun on the back like that. So we're actually going to go ahead and delete the preview asset, and we're going to delete the socket. I'm left clicking on it, and I'm clicking on delete, the key itself. So we're going to go with pelvis again, actually thigh right, and we're going to add a socket. We're going to call this holster, add a preview asset, and I'm going to bring it out a little bit so we can see what we're doing here. Then we'll go ahead and rotate that. And we just want it approximate. I mean, and we know that it's not going to look great no matter how we do this. But if you ask me, that looks a little bit better than where it was in the back. Alright, so it's good enough. We have our slots available, and called slot 1, slot 2, and holster. We're going to hit save, and we're going to go ahead and close that. And we're done with the skeleton for now. Here comes the fun part, and this is going to take a little bit to get it all accomplished, so bear with me. We're going to go back into player_base. For some reason I need to save all on that. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and left click on the tab here, and I'm going to drag it straight up and anchor it to the top. So I'm going to have more room to work with in here so you can see more. We've already got our variables. Is in hand, is in slot 1, is in slot 2, and is in holster. Okay. We need more variables. Yay. So we're going to create one that is called has MP5. And again, we're going to go ahead and put these in the weapons category. Another variable has G17. And you go to the weapons category. And of course, the final one has AKM. And you go where you're supposed to go. Now, with these variables, what we're going to need to do is, even though we have a variable here that says MP5 was picked up, what if we later decide we want to throw it down? And we'll have to do something with that later on. But I'm going to go ahead and compile and save, because you can never compile and save too much. So, what we need is probably going to be off of an event tick. So that's going to let us, it's going to be constantly checking, do we have this, do we have this, do we have this. Maybe not the most ideal thing to do, but we're going to right click, we're going to say event tick, and we are going to get into the meat of it. So let's go ahead and branch, and we are going to say MP5. We're going to get MP5 picked up. Lovely. And then, since we're going to have a bunch of stuff here, we're going to go ahead and drag this out just a hair, and we're going to come off of this, left click, drag over, release, and we are going to add in a sequence node. Now, to start off with, we're going to have in pin 0 will be our MP5. We're going to end up having multiple pins later on. All you have to do is just hit add pin. So we're going to have 3 just for these guns. So if MP5 was picked up, we're going to alternate, left click, drag, drop, and set has MP5 to true. And then this is going to be fun. Now we can go ahead and create these individually. And what we're going to end up having to do is this is going to be a short-term fix, and I'm going to have to come back up with another way of fixing this. But you're only going to have 3 weapons available: 1 pistol, 2 long guns. Other than that, you're going to have to throw down something. What we need to do is we need to take this MP5 and we need to put it into slot 1 or slot 2. We won't be able to put long guns into slot 3, or holster, but we're going to do, we now have established that we have an MP5. We are going to we're going to have to figure out a way of creating is in slot 1. We need to find out if anything is in slot 1. We need to find out if anything is in slot 2. This won't be a problem for the holster. There's only 1 slot. So if we have an MP5 and it's set as has MP5, now if we walk over it again, we're going to end up having to set it to where you're not going to be able to pick up the same gun twice. Or maybe you can if you want to take it and sell it later on. We'll work into that one thing at a time. So for now, we've got that. And let's go ahead and do the same thing for, get a branch. And do G17 picked up. And then this video is running a little bit long, so I'm going to probably end up cutting it short just because I don't want to get more than 30 minutes per video. So we did G17, so we want to set G17. We're going to end up spacing these out. There's going to be a lot of work being done on this. And then AKM picked up. Get. We want a branch. Connect the branch into pin 2. And then we are going to set has AKM to true. So that's going to ensure that we have them available. The next thing we're going to have to tackle, and let's go ahead and compile and save, is we're going to end up having to create, placing them into a slot. For now, to keep it simple and use the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. If we get the Glock 17, we're going to spawn actor from class. And we're just going to continue on with this one for right now since it's going to be the easy one. We'll do spawn actor from class. And what are we spawning? We are spawning... Oh, we cannot do that yet because we haven't done something important. We have created the blueprint for the pickup, but we haven't created the pickup for the firearm itself. So we need to create a blueprint actor G17 underscore WPN. So we know that that's actually going to be the weapon. We're going to go into it. We're going to add a component. And the first thing we're going to do is add a skeletal mesh. And we're going to call that weapon. The skeletal mesh is actually going to be Glock 17. Now, we're not worried about the position of it in here just yet, but we will. And then while we're in here, let's go ahead and add another component. And we need to add a projectile. No, we don't. Yeah, we're going to skip that. We're going to do that separately. So for right now, we just want to create the base blueprint of the Glock 17. So we have it. So we can now come in here, Glock 17 or G17 WPN. Lovely. And we're going to have to get a spawn transform. So if you left click here and release, make transform. We're going to clean this up and we're going to collapse this as a function, but I'll show you that in a little bit. Probably save that for the next video, but I want to wrap this up of actually spawning the Glock 17 in the holster. Okay, so what we're going to need to do now is attach to component. Now, with that, the parent is going to be, and we need to get a reference to the mesh. That's going to be your parent. Who's your daddy? It's your mesh. Your socket name, and we call this holster. So we need to type in HOLSTER exactly how we have it in there. We need to go ahead and select snap to target in each one of these 3 windows here. Alright. So now we have created the method of, we have a Glock 17, we have spawned it in, and we've told it to go to the holster. Now, it's not necessarily complete, but Since I'm a weirdo, I'm dragging this back off of here because I have a tendency of closing the whole freaking project down. So we're going to do this, and we're actually going to go ahead and close player base, and we're going to see what happens. Alright, now do you see how it's acting really, really weird? You notice how the actors are going profoundly higher and higher and higher? It's because it was steady spawning it on my holster. Yeah, that's not a good thing. But, so that's what it's doing. It's actually continuously spawning. So what we're going to end up having to do is make a correction to it, get it to stop spawning, and we'll cover that in the next video because this one's gone on quite a bit. And I'm just going to leave this the way it is, and we'll pick it up from there. Alright, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.